Okay, Unit 2 is going to be about quadratics. So the objective of this lesson is to understand quadratic systems and how to perform operations on them. So first of all, what is a quadratic equation? So it is going to be a polynomial that has the highest power of 2. So, and you won't ever have to write the definition. So polynomial, highest exponent of 2. So you could have x squared, you could have an x to the first, and you could have no x, which is just a number. Okay? So quadratic standard form, we could have numbers in front. We always put them in high to lowest power. So ax squared plus bx to the first, and then a constant number at the end if we had all three terms. Okay? And you can have some of those or not all of them. If you're given a table, and I just went from 0 to 4, if the y values were 0, 1, 4, 9, and 6, and you found the differences. So from 1 minus 0 is 1, 4 minus 1 is 3, 9 minus 4 is 5, and then you found the differences there. If you end up with differences of 2 after doing that twice, then that will tell you that it's quadratic, okay? And that's only if you're given a table, though. So in this section, we're going to talk about the operations. If we are adding and subtracting, you have two options. So option number 1 is if you want to keep, I don't know why it keeps doing that. There we go. You can keep combined like terms, keep the sign in mind, or option number 2, and this is basically for subtraction, is to distribute. There's like a -1 in front of a parenthesis. And I let you pick, but more students have success if they actually distribute. So with the adding, it's not a problem. Let's look at example 1. We look at the coefficient. So here's x squared, here's x to the first, and here's just a number. So those are the like terms. There's 3 like terms. So you're just going to combine the coefficients. So 6 plus 4 is 10, and when you add, the variable stays the same. -8 plus 2 is -6, the x stays, and 5 minus 13 is -8. All right? So notice I said -8, but I write it as -8. Those are the same thing. Example 2 is where the errors come in because it's subtraction. So there is like an imaginary -1 in front, and so you want to distribute a -1 to all 3 terms. So I like to line things up. Since the first term isn't changing, we really don't need the parentheses. So I just rewrite it without. And then I'm going to change the next. So -1 times 7 is -7x squared. -1 times -5 is positive. And -1 times positive 18 is -18. And once you've done the subtraction, then it really changes to addition. Okay? So add these up, add those up, and the last 2 terms. And then that's it. All right, the last operation we're going to do is multiplying. There's 2 types. Distributing, which we've seen. You take the number outside of parentheses and you multiply it by both terms inside. And then double distributing, which is also called FOIL. So same thing, you take the first term and you multiply it by both terms in the second expression. And then you take the second term and multiply it by both terms. You should end up with 4 terms. And then you combine if you can. All right? So let's practice those. I'm going to write it out the long way, and then you can choose how much work you need to write out for yourself. Okay, I'm having the same issue. Okay, nope. Okay. All right, so let's look at example 3. So if I write this out, what we're going to end up with is we've got 4x times the quantity 3x minus 8. So I'm going to multiply those two. So I've got 4x times 3x. And some of you can just go ahead and multiply that. And then I've got minus 4x times 8. So that's how you can think of it. So you're going to multiply the numbers together. So 4 times 3 is 12. And then these both have a little 1 there. So remember, if the bases are the same, you add the exponents. That's the first term. So then 4 times 8, and that's the only x. All right, and then x squared and x are not the same, so you leave those, and that's your answer. All right, let's look at example 4. This is going to be the double distributing. So we're going to write these out. I've got 2x times 4x. Then I've got 2x times 9, which is a positive 9. And then we've got negative 7, so I write that as minus 7 times 4x. And then we've got negative 7 times 9, so negative 7 times 9. And so see, everything gets multiplied by everything. And then you just clean up all 4 terms separately. So 2 times 4, x times x, add exponents. 2 times 9, 7 times 4, and 7 times 9. Now you look to see if any have the same variable, and these both are x to the first, so we can add those together. So we get 8x squared, 18 minus 28, and then bring down the negative 63. And those are all 3 separate terms. We're going to do the same thing here. I'll try to skip the first step to see what it looks like. So 4 times 4, 4 times negative 3x, 3x times 4, and notice how I put the plus in front so you know what the signs are going to be, and then positive 3x times negative 3x. So we get negative 9 and then x times x. And once again, these are the same variables. So negative 12 plus 12 is actually 0, and I don't write zeros, so we just get 16 minus 9x squared. You can put the 9x squared first. It really is just a preference. Okay, I wouldn't mark it wrong because they're both correct. Now, example 6, the 4x minus 2 is in front, so technically you don't need the parenthesis. But then we have this negative 3 that actually needs to be distributed to all 3 terms. So negative 3 times 4, negative 3 times negative 2, x, and then negative 3 times 8. Okay? And then we want to combine what we can. So on this problem, I just go the highest. So that's the only x squared term. Notice how I kept the negative with it. Here's some x's. So 4 is positive and 6 is positive. So that's 10. And then negative 2 and negative 24 is negative 26. And then we're in descending order. All right. So I'm going to let you go ahead and try your practice and see how you do.